There we go. So hello, welcome everybody. This is a session to get your questions answered about how to play with your characters in the house party. So does anybody have any questions, or do you want me to start with an overview, or what would work best?
Oh, start with an overview, please.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share this screen. Okay, so the way that you find the house party, let's talk about that first, is you go to communities, and then you're going to scroll down and go to this literary house party, which has nothing to do with literary writing, but just that we're all literary and writing books and being smart people. Now, what I think works best here is if you switch to list view. I also think it's helpful if you go to topics, and there's two different topics. One is just what is a literary house party and the frequently asked questions, and the other is where our activities are actually going to be taking place. So if you go to the what is a literary house party, and I guess again you have to press this little toggle button, and there's really only 3 posts here. There's what is a literary house party, frequently asked questions, and then a how do you play thread that'll sort of take you through each thing. Like if you keep hitting the next thing, it'll take you through item by item. So literary house party is where you bring your characters to play in an improv setting. And the idea is that each day there'll be a post that's a prompt. So like today it was about getting on board the ship. And you just write a short scene about your character getting on the ship and what happens to them. And kind of what I found is it's easy if you set up a goal for what your character wants to accomplish by participating in this event. So for example, my character, Sarah, she's bringing her niece, Daisy, on the cruise because she wants to help her niece find a husband. And her niece is getting kind of older and they're not having much luck. So she thought this would be a good way to kind of meet more people. So, so that kind of, you don't have to have that, but I think that kind of helps. So you just write a scene and you can involve other characters in it if you want to. We've provided you with 5 crew members that you can interact with. And each day I'm going to post a prompt. And then just write something. So I wrote like 300 words. I didn't edit it. I already know I have a it is instead of a it's possessive in there, you know. So when I went back and read it. So no editors, no spelling check. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It's just about having fun and playing and learning things about your character. So I heard somebody join us. So before I go on, it's Natasha. So once you've kind of gone through these basic things, then you'll want to come to this, go back to topics and come to this literary cruise. And again, I think it's going to be easier if you toggle this so that you're seeing everything. So we've got the invitation, the setting, meet the crew, introduce your character, and then here's the first prompt, board the ship. And then if you just have comments you want to make, you think somebody wrote something really clever and you want to talk about it, or somebody had a great idea and you want to riff off it, or you think, you know, your character and somebody else's character might have fun doing something together and you want to plan it. Just any kind of side comments that you want to make, they would go in this thread. So, so this is a cruise ship that we're going on. It's going to Honduras and 2 ports in Mexico. It's based on the Love Boat, if you want to kind of have a little fun with it that way. If you want some ideas about things you can do in port, those are here. If you've never been on a ship before, you can go to this link and see some pictures of ship ships and the deck layouts and what all the amenities are. Then close that. We have 5 crew members, and for copyright purposes, I changed their names, although you might recognize them as being closely modeled off of characters from a 1970s TV show. So we've got Captain Gavin Surrey, we've got Dr. Adam Booker, we have Julie Marvel, Fred Grandley, and Sasha Malone. And so here's a little piece of trivia that people that are hearing the Q&A, Fred Grandley is actually the actor's name who played, what was his name, Gopher? And he went on to be a US Senator named Fred Grandley. So I just thought that was kind of funny. So I just stole his name. He's in the public domain. So, so those are our characters, and you can check them out so you can interact with them. Introduce your character, and you can really do that in any way that you want, but so that you don't get stumped. What a lot of people have been doing is just answering these questions, but you could write a scene, you could answer your own questions, you could just put a couple sentences in and let us get to know them as we go through the cruise. So any way that you really want to handle that. And then the first prompt is boarding the ship. So I'm gonna, this pictures are in my way. There we go. So if you're boarding the ship, so how does your character get on? And these are just some prompts. You don't have to answer them, but like, how do they make their entrance? What would they see? What would they hear? What would they smell? Who would they interact with? Would they talk to the ship's captain, the cruise director, other passengers who've already gotten on? What mishaps might occur? What anxieties might your character have? What is their goal for taking the cruise, and what is already getting in their way? You can interact with other characters who've already gotten on the ship. You can interact with characters or anticipate characters people who posted their character development. So then here's just like an example that I wrote for Sarah getting on the ship, and this was just like off the cuff. So says the smell of the sea swept Sarah Winchester back 4 years when her hurried escape from Connecticut had landed her on a ship bound for England. William and death were on her mind today, much as they had been 4 years ago. And although the ship was headed for warmer climates, she couldn't help feeling she was experiencing again that long ago flight from everything that haunted her. So, and then I just went on with like just a little, short scene. Michelle posted another one here about her character, who I think is going to be a really interesting addition to the cruise. So other things to know is that you can hop in or hop off at any point. So if you don't get around to getting on the ship for a couple days, that's fine, get on the ship. If you want to skip over that, you can join in tomorrow's prompt or Tuesday's prompt or Wednesday's prompt. You can just appear on the ship, or you can explain your appearance. Like I said in some of the introductory material, you can be rescued at sea, you can get on at another port. So lots and lots of different options. I wouldn't even want to guess what everybody's going to do. So what questions do people have?
So it's based on the 1960, 1970 sitcom, but does it take place in 2020?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Yes, it takes place in 2020.
Just minus the pandemic, because otherwise this cruise wouldn't happen.
You can bring in the pandemic too if you want, I mean, because your storyline doesn't have to coordinate with anybody else's storyline. So if you, I'll give you a hint. Tomorrow, Dr. Booker is going to be taking temperatures of some people. So you could include the pandemic. You can make it be like the Titanic, and all of a sudden an iceberg appears in the Caribbean, and everybody's story doesn't have to fit together. It's not like we're going to take all these scenes and try and make them into a book. So the storylines can go all over the place, and I can be over here and then all of a sudden go, oh, but Michelle wrote something really cool and I want to pile onto her scene too. And those two things are happening at the same time, but that's okay. So, all right. So it's really just, and I think you will like learn things about your characters as you write this, because they're in a totally different situation and how they react to that is going to be different. Or at least that's my experience when I've done this in another group. So somebody wrote, if your characters from the 1700s, are they time traveling? Yep. Or they just appear in their time. I mean, Sarah's from, you know, her story spans from 1880 to 1920. So, and she just got on the ship. So they can time travel. Or I guess there weren't really cruise ships in the 1700s, right? So, you know.
Is that where the crate comes in, right? Like you're
yeah.
traveling like with Michelle's character in a crate.
Uh-huh. So you can, yeah, you can do anything you want. Time travel, or, you know, what they're seeing is a very old ship and they don't understand why everybody else is so excited about the amenities, you know, kind of layered in time, but yeah. Or you don't have to explain it all, they just show up. Hi, Anne. And who else is, and, oh, Anne left. So yeah, so you can take a character from your existing work and mold them into the story, or you can just make somebody up for the course of this. You can use somebody from a book you wrote a while ago. You can use somebody from a book you're thinking about as a way to maybe flesh out some of their character nuances. So, and Natasha says this overlaps too much with her story. So, so I don't know, bring somebody else. Yes, Tracy, it would be interesting to have a long-lived winged female assassin spy. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, bring your dragons, Bonnie, you know, and Tracy, bring your, what is the name of your creature? I mean, like, she's not a dragon. What is she? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why we're all doing
I
that.
just wasn't sure. I was texting. So my technically she's a humanoid type of creature, but long-lived, more like kind of the elven races.
I'll have to think.
He has a winged mutation that not all of her people have.
Cool.
I don't know what my character would do when encountered with that. Tracy will have to think about that.
Well, see, that'll be interesting to find out, won't it?
Tracy's character and my character are going to go establish a little corner of the boat that is just for the fantasy realm. You may not enter unless you know what a troll is.
So you guys are getting on at the port of Fantasy Island, right? So we will see those interesting characters.
No, we can fly in whenever we want. We can leave whenever we want too.
There you go.
I think my character would assume you were just a strange street person in costume.
I think the 1700s characters would think they're hallucinating.
Yeah. So, but the idea is just, first of all, just have fun. It lets us all get to know each other's characters a little bit better. Like, we haven't all read everybody's stuff, but you kind of get to know each other's characters a little bit this way. And I can always find out something new about my characters too. So
I want to know what genre everyone is writing in, because that'll be fun. Like, I think, Marianne, you and I are writing contemporary romance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see how they could be.
So you
Some
are the
from the
bikini
past,
girls.
some from the fantastical future. Supernatural mystery or something. You don't know, Leslie?
What is a supernatural mystery?
Oh, something vaguely paranormal, is that right?
Well, it has a vampire and a ghost, and it's historical, and someone's been kidnapped and they have to find them, and so and it might be romance, but then maybe there'll be murder, and so hey,
Oh,
it's free for all.
it depends on your character. They can either be scandalized or they can be skeptical, and
Right.
Or maybe they just want to join in. Take off all their clothes. So,
It sounds not pretty. It sounds very straightforward, and you've explained it so well, Jenny, that I don't have any questions. I just want to like dive in and see how it goes, because that's the fun of it, right? Like we don't know how it's going to go.
yeah, I think the interesting thing is immersing in your character so that whatever is thrown at them, you respond in character. And then I think we all can learn things about our characters by finding them in unexpected situations, right?
Yeah.
So
Kind of plays a little bit on what Elizabeth Boyle was saying around, when you're writing, just figure out the 20 things that could be so fantastical that you could be doing in your scenes, and we're having them given to us on a silver platter here.
yep. So don't stress about it too much. Don't, spend hours writing a piece and editing it to perfection. Just, it's like improv. So you just react in the moment, put it out there, and then move on to your regular stuff. So,
yeah, cool. Just pop in and out and
Yeah.
see what's happening. Yeah.
yep.
It's
So the
And I
wrap
gave
up, okay, the wrap up is then come and play. If you can only participate one day, just do one day. If you decide on Thursday you finished a big editing project, you can go back and do any of the previous day prompts. And the idea is just to have fun.
so I have a question, Jenny. As the story, the narrative kind of builds on itself,
Right.
is it a good idea to kind of review that to see how we fit in, or if we just walk in, react to whatever's happening in the moment?
You could just walk in and react to whatever's happening in the moment, but it
Even though
probably,
it might not make sense.
I'm expecting it would be fun to read what other people have posted, but the story doesn't have to have internal consistency.
Okay. All right.
It's basically just like a really advanced, like brainstorming, plotting, getting to know your character kind of.
Oh my
fun.
goodness, Bonnie.
Oh wow, Bonnie. Uh,
It's Orson's card. You're becoming a tree.
Sorry.
So yeah, so it's say again, Donna, what you were saying.
I was saying it's almost like it's giving us an opportunity to do some really fun and unexpected brainstorming, because we're being dragged around a little bit as well. So
Yeah.
it just sounds like,
reactions.
yeah, I imagine coming out of the week with a much clearer idea of who my character will be in different situations that I never would have thought of. And even though like a dragon may not appear in her real story, something that unexpected could, which could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. And if it's fun and everybody has a good time, we can do another one in 6 months.
I like that.
So,
Okay.
Thank you, Jenny.
all right.
Game.
Bye, everybody. Go right.
Tequila's involved.
Yeah. Good luck cutting up all this video. Oops. I completely forgot. My filters came off.
No, that's okay. I forgot too, actually. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
I'm gonna figure out the picture thing if it kills me.
Don't let it kill
Okay.
you. Don't let it kill
I
you.
want it to kill you.
No.
Guys, I'm gonna